We're gonna get rolling. Give me 1 second here. And I'm gonna put one more time into the chat, if you haven't yet found the chat, the link for the agenda so that you can see that. And I may even just show it to you on the screen here so that everybody is good to go. All right, so I'm so excited that you guys could join us here today in this Zoominar. We're gonna spend about the next 45 minutes, hopefully giving you some getting started options for recording lessons from home. I'm gonna just focus on Mac and iPad today, probably primarily Mac, just because I know most of the teachers that this Zoom was commissioned for have a teacher laptop. And so if you have a personal iPhone or iPad, I'll give you some other additional ideas. But doing it on a Chromebook or a Windows laptop, we'll save those options for another time. Just before we get started, making sure everybody knows how to access the mute button in the bottom left-hand corner of your Zoom menu. If you just hover over the bottom down there, you'll see if there's a red slash through it or not. I can mute you too, but I want you to be able to unmute yourselves, especially if you have a question. You can decide if you want to show your video or not show your video. A lot of us are showing our video right now, and it seems to be fine. I'm not hearing anybody that has bandwidth issues, but I have had experiences in the past week where it'll give me a message on my screen saying low connectivity. And so in that case, I typically just stop my video and it seems to pick up the audio better. And so that's a tip for you from doing Zoom from home as well. You can continue with the Zoom meeting and just not transmit the video, and it seems to be better. Also, definitely find the chat button in the bottom middle of your toolbar of Zoom, because that's how you can just type a message to the whole group. We can use that chat as kind of a back channel. And at the end of this, I'm definitely planning on getting some time allowed for your questions. And so you can, there we go, I'm gonna mute Maureen and she can unmute herself. But you can definitely type your questions in that back channel and then I can see them later on. I'm hoping that Molly Ashoff here from ESU8 is going to be joining us. I don't know if she's got on yet or not. Yeah, perfect, she's there. So she'll be able to answer questions in real time. If you have technical issues or if you have a question that you want addressed at the end of this, feel free to use the chat or just unmute yourself and talk. I think that's enough to let us get started and get away from Zoom and talk about what we'll record our lessons in. You may have noticed that this meeting is being recorded, and because of that, I just wanted to make sure that you guys are all aware of that. And so, yeah, all right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is on your Mac, how to record a video lesson, whether it's a message to your students or an actual instructional lesson, review or enrichment or whatever it may be, using QuickTime. Because QuickTime is built into our Macs and it's available for 3 kinds of video recordings, video lessons, I guess, audio, video, and then our screen. So I don't want to show you, and this might be review for some, I realize that, but we're going to get started with QuickTime. On the digital agenda or on the handout, there's a link to some of these topics, and it might just have a quick resource file with additional steps if you want to look at that later on. But you can see my screen right now, and you can see that if I went up to my spotlight in the top right of my Mac's dock or my toolbar across the top, I could just search for QuickTime Player, and it would bring it up and I could launch it. Now I use QuickTime often enough that I actually added it to my dock. So if you look on the bottom kind of right side of my screen, you'll see the icon for QuickTime down there, and I'm going to click it to launch it. And you'll notice now that not a lot changes on my screen, other than if you look at the active application in the top left-hand corner, it does say that QuickTime is running. And we need that to be shown as the active application so that we can get to the file menu. And here are our 3 options. I'm going to just start with an audio recording. This is just a really great way to just add some additional explanation with an article you send home, or even just letting students hear your voice. You just click on that and record it, and then you hit stop. And now I have a file that I can save and name and place it somewhere in order to distribute it to my students. So an audio recording is quick and easy, and you can actually just drag right here on the little untitled file name in the top of my QuickTime recorder, and you can drag and drop that green file anywhere. I could actually put it on this Google Doc if I wanted to, which I really don't, and record it, but that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go back there a second. All right, so QuickTime, again, make it active, then go to File. This one I'm gonna click that red X and delete it because I don't wanna keep that recording. File, new movie recording is the second way. And here it brings up that video camera, that built-in iSight camera. And then I can click that red record button in the middle of my screen, and record that as just as a plain old video. So it's just a standalone video camera without needing to go into iMovie or without needing to get out your phone to do an additional video recorder. And it works the same. When you hit stop, then you have the options to save it and name it and then distribute it however you want. On this one, we're just gonna get out of it, and I'm gonna show you the third option. So the audio, the movie, and then the screen. And the screen recording, I know some of you high school teachers have used this quite a bit, and students do as well, to capture something online and have a recording of it to keep on your machine, for example. But the QuickTime screen recording features, they've changed a little bit. If you've upgraded your Mac to the latest operating system, you can see I'm moving that toolbar around, as opposed to in the past, it was more at the top and it had fewer buttons. So if you haven't upgraded your Mac, then it might look a little bit different, but the options are still there. So in this first button, I can get the entire screen, absolutely everything on it. It would be in my screen recording, or I can just do one window. So maybe just one browser or one application like Keynote. I could capture just a portion, and I can actually record a portion of my screen. So this first button is to record the entire screen, the one that I'm hovering on right now, and the second one is a portion. If I did that portion, then I would have to drag my mouse, and it kind of makes a, well, it gives me the crosshairs here, the dotted lines that I can select. I got to find the boundaries there. And I would just be recording part of my screen here for whatever reason, if that was what I wanted. Before you actually hit record though, here, and I should have done this first. So I'm gonna stop my recording quick. There we go. We're gonna X that out, and we're gonna just go back to File, New Screen Recording. And this time I'll do the whole screen. But before you hit the record button, you do wanna make sure that the first time you've clicked on the options drop down and made sure that it was using a microphone, either the built into your computer or if you have an external microphone. And I also like to, when I'm creating an instructional video, check the option to show my mouse clicks, so that when I'm moving my mouse around on the screen, the people that are watching my screen recording see that. If you don't click that, you might say, click here, and they don't see where your mouse is. So turn those
Hey,
two
Katie,
things on and they'll stay on. You bet.
couple questions while you were going.
Good.
For kids whose home internet might not be great, is the audio file better? Just doing
Yes.
that?
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller bandwidth. That's
Okay.
very true.
And then the other one was, can you have a small video of yourself as you record your screen?
To do that, you can't do that with QuickTime. But
Right.
what I show you with Zoom and recording your Zoom meeting would be just like what I'm doing now. You see me in the picture-in-picture or whatever the whole time, and you also see my screen. So no in QuickTime, but yes, it's possible on your Mac if you just wait till we get to the Zoom section. Good question. All right, so I think then that kind of clarifies the screen recording with QuickTime. If I hit record now that I have these settings on, and then it's recording right now. So anything I do on the screen, if I scroll up and down, it's also recording my voice. And then at the very top of my taskbar here, at the top of my computer screen, there's a little stop. that I would just click, and now it shows up as a file that I can, again, then save it or send it somewhere. This is going to apply to all kinds of tools if you're making recordings, that you're going to want to probably make them smaller. Somebody already brought up the concern about home internet and bandwidth, and I would recommend for every lesson that you create at home that you always make it as small as possible. So once we have this recording saved, I would take the extra step of going to File and Export As and choose the lowest quality recording, which is 480p. That's just going to make your life a lot easier for when you want to send it out to your students. Okay. You can see in this next window, after I chose that 480p, that I still get the option of where to save it and what to call it. But just make it that compressed, exported version before you share. And you can take a video that was recorded somewhere else. You can open it in QuickTime, and a lot of times you can do that same File, Export As 480p, and it kind of acts as a compressor, and it makes it more compatible to send on.
Katie, we had a suggestion that if you want picture-in-picture in QuickTime, open your photo booth and leave it open in the corner. But once again, you've got 2 applications running, but that's a great idea. Yes. And would QuickTime be good to record over a smart notebook file? It's like a PowerPoint, I'm guessing, so I would say yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can run Smart Notebook on your computer. That's where you do your teaching, your instruction, but you're recording your voice along with it. And QuickTime is just basically running in the background. And if you do the picture-in-picture with Photo Booth, you may have to manipulate your windows just a little bit so that they'll both be running at the same time. For example, here, so I would move this window and make it kind of small and off to the side, but then I may have to take my Chrome window in this case and shrink it over. This is really kind of creepy because we got like 3 videos going on at once. But just so you know, if you clicked on Chrome, see, it would block that photo booth window unless you made your windows smaller so you can share the screen with 2 applications. That was a great, clever hack. I'm going to quit photo booth and we're back here. Any other questions, Molly?
Nope.
Okay, very good. So that was the QuickTime section. I covered both of the little points there, and there is a little bit of additional information on that link to a blog post. Next, we're going to go into Keynote, which again is just a built-in application that we all have on our teacher laptops. So we may as well start with that if we're looking for something to record a lesson from home. I'm just going to open up Keynote right here, and I'm going to switch to, this is actually a PowerPoint file for Mr. Corkle's class that came with his textbook, I think, I'm pretty sure. And I just opened up the PowerPoint in Keynote. So I did a control click and open with Keynote, but you don't have to. I mean, you could honestly just do a new Keynote and have blank slides, kind of like Smart Notebook. And you could just do a recording from there too, or teach your lesson from there. Type some words on the screen, add some images. But in this case, I'm going with a teacher resource that's already been created, and I just want to add it out or send it out to students as instructional content or review content. So in Keynote, if you go up to the top menu and you choose play, you can record your slideshow. So think of this like a screencast. When you click that, then it kind of goes into presenter mode, and there's a record button at the bottom. That's to pick up my audio. So if I click that start recording, and then I click my slides through, here, I'll see if I can record more than once. There we go. It's going to count down for me. And now I'm just going to teach away, just like I would on the smartboard, or just like I would if I was actually delivering these slides in class. It'll bring the builds on. I can talk about each bullet point. I can, go to the next slide. You can even use, there's some markup tools in presenter mode, and there's somewhere, especially on the iPad, it's super easy to add like a drawing or an arrow to that. I don't see it right here in this view, But even just to add your voice on top of these slides, this is a really easy way to make an instructional video. So I'm going to hit stop. Okay, now what you need to do, I'm going to get out of this this playing recording mode. Okay, this is now, I just went through 3 slides and I added some audio to those first 3 slides. But you either have to send the whole Keynote file to kids so that they can hit play, but probably what would be safer is just to go to File and Export as a movie, because then it's going to automatically play back that slideshow recording. And I would want you to choose that lowest resolution possible, go to the next, and choose the lowest quality possible if you get that option, but then name it and save it to your desktop, so you now have a 1 file recording of your slides and your voice. So if there's any questions about that, share them now.
Yep. Can you go again on how to change a PowerPoint to Keynote, and does that work for
Yep.
Google Slides also into Keynote?
Okay, so no to Google Slides, but you could go to Google Slides and you could go to File, Download As. Okay, so you could download it as a PowerPoint, I believe. Think it'll convert it there. And then once you have that file saved in your downloads, which I doubt I have any PowerPoint files actually. Let's just search for a PPT file on my computer on this Mac. Oh, there are some.
If I'm using a Keynote or a Google Slides, then I just present them and do QuickTime. I think if you don't want to do all of that.
Absolutely. You don't even need to bring it into Keynote. If it's already in presentation mode, just record your screen with QuickTime and add your voice on top of those Google Slides. Yes. But if for some reason your file that came with your textbook is already in PowerPoint, just go to it in your Finder and do a Control click and open with Keynote. And that's how you convert a PowerPoint and open it in Keynote so that you can add your voice on top of it.
Can you also start in Keynote and import it? I think you can, can't you?
Oh, you might be able to go to File. I don't know. I know you can do that in Smart Notebook. You can bring in a PowerPoint into Smart Notebook, but I don't know if you can, if there's actually an import. It's more just open with.
Okay.
Those are good ideas. And yeah, really the bottom line with all of this is keep it simple. So definitely shoot your question.
If we export as a 480p, will that make the upload speed faster?
Well, it will, but it's still going to be slow. You're still going to be frustrated with your home upload speed on our home Wi-Fi and internet providers. What we have
most of them are just up 5. I mean, that's just the way they are. You may have 100 meg bandwidth at home, but the up speed is 3 to 5 is the max. And so drive by school, park out front, upload there.
That's absolutely the best advice that I was going to give you as well. Make several recordings and then just take the time to go to the school parking lot and connect to the school Wi-Fi and then get them up somehow there. And I'm going to talk in a little bit about options to share those and where to place them when you're uploading them. Any other questions about Keynote? All right, then we're going to talk about Zoom now, and I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen for a second. And just, this is a good reminder that to see your Zoom settings, you might have to hit your escape key. Or if you look in the top right-hand corner, there's 4 arrows that let you escape and enter, go back and forth. They toggle between that full screen view. You can also just hover your mouse across the bottom. But you'll notice even on your free Zoom accounts that most of you are using, there's a record feature. When you are the host, not right now because you're joining mine, but when you start a Zoom meeting, even if there's nobody in it, it's just you and yourself, you can hit that record button and you can make a recording of yourself teaching in Zoom and sharing your screen. Very easy to do and probably a great way if you're comfortable with Zoom, which it's not going to be long and we're all going to be very comfortable with Zoom. So it's a great option. When you hit stop and you end your meeting, your recording will have to process. but it will be saved in a folder automatically on your computer in Documents, and it just makes this folder called Zoom. So I get that question a lot, where did my recording go? You got to go to Documents on your Mac and then go to that Zoom folder, and here's the different sessions where I've hit record, and you can see, you know, in this one, you might have to click on it. It might say click to convert. Just double click on it, and then it'll be
screen right now. We can't see it.
Oh, good call. I've stopped sharing my screen. Thank you very much. Let me go back to my desktop, and then you'll be able to see what I was seeing and making you imagine. Okay, so although I don't think you'll be able to see the Zoom settings, that's why I stopped my screen share, you can see my Finder settings. So here's the Documents folder, and here's the Zoom folder that Zoom automatically made to store my recordings. When I expand that, then here's one particular recording that I did, and inside of that is this file I've already converted called Zoom. And when you play that on this computer, so there we go. So that's just an example of what it would look like. Now that's still a video file. It's quite big, even though that was a short recording, and you still need to do something with it. But you have control of that. It's like you did a screen recording in QuickTime, or you taught your whole lesson in Keynote, and now you have your exported video file. You can just take it out of that folder and then share the same way we would with something else. You might be able to open this with QuickTime, and you might be able to go to File, Export as 480p, and you might be able to get that file size down a little bit before you put it onto your YouTube channel or whatnot. Send it out on Canvas. But just make sure that you know where to find it. That's the main thing, that you go to your Documents folder and then go to the date and time of that Zoom recording and then find that file. If you need help with any of this, Molly and I are happy to help one-on-one. You know, after you do your first one, you'll find it's not too scary. Okay, so
you might go over on sharing your screen. We had a question on how you can share your computer screen on.
And I know you can't see my my actual Zoom controls here, but you can look on yours again, even though you're not the host right now. And you can see across the bottom of your toolbar that there's a share button. And actually your learners, if you're doing a live Zoom meeting, they can share their screen as well. So I'm gonna stop, let's see, here we go. I'll just stop this share. And if you look at that share button, when you click share,
show that
the screenshot,
I'll share that.
And so Molly is actually going to take over my Zoom room right now, and she's sharing her screen and showing us her busy calendar of Zoom meetings. But she took a screenshot of what it looks like when you click that share button. There's a couple of things to point out there, and this is the main one. If you want to share your whole computer, like QuickTime, we're allowing the whole screen to be recorded. It's that first desktop, and then everything that you see on your computer screen, your Zoom participants see as well. The second option is a whiteboard. And so you can actually just use that like smart notebook and write on it or type on it, and students could see, and it would be recording what you do on that whiteboard space. There's another option that's kind of nice. If you have access to an iPhone or an iPad, you can do your writing or your teaching on an app on your iPad, and you can use AirPlay to go into the Zoom meeting. But these are the main one you'll click is that first one, that desktop. Know that down at the bottom, and I don't think for what we're doing, we're just recording short, you know, instructional videos. We're not going to like play a whole video through our Zoom meeting. But if you want that audio to come through for the participants in a high quality way, you'll want to check that share computer sound down at the bottom. Yeah, Molly's kind of hovering over that. But yeah, sharing is easy on your end, and whatever you share then would be part of that recording. Okay, and so I can go back to sharing my whole desktop, and you can take you back to our agenda, and we'll just pause for a quick second on questions about Zoom. Actually, this would be a good chance while you're asking the question. I'm going to share my iPad screen instead. Go ahead, Molly.
Okay. So is it okay if they make a hard copy of your agenda for
Oh,
themselves to go back?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, you can do that and share that as much as you want, the agenda as well as this recording. Like I said, it's going to go up onto our
Or the
ESU8
Bitly?
YouTube channel. So people, yeah, and the Bitly, yes, definitely. And maybe as we learn new things, because I'm learning new things every day from you guys, then I can add them to this as well, like link it to other resources or add additional tips to this document. So great question. Okay, I'm just gonna,
Katie,
Molly was, go ahead.
oh, I had a quick question for you
Yeah,
on Zoom before you move on. Is that
go
okay?
for it. Yeah.
All right. So if I want to project up like a reading passage, and then I know that Zoom has the ability to, you can annotate or mark up on it. I can't figure out how to do that though.
I don't
Okay,
know.
when I
Oh,
do,
go ahead.
when you
Molly
share your
does. Okay.
screen, when you share your screen, once you're in share, there's a toolbar that comes across the top that has an annotate button that you just click.
Oh,
And
Oh, okay. There's an annotate button. Got
yeah,
it.
I'm pretty sure. Let me check that, but I'm just going to do that
yeah, I
quick.
think you're right. And it's when you share that you get that
Right.
toolbar.
Yeah, there's a little pencil that says annotate, and then I
And
can
we
annotate.
can't see that, but you
Okay.
can. So you can you write on top of that right now, Molly?
I just did. Did you see it?
No,
Pencil that says annotate. Okay.
but
Thank you.
that's an option. Or you can do this option of AirPlaying your Mac and iPad. So Molly, I got to take over here. I'm going to stop your screen share. I'm going to switch to that iPhone/iPad via AirPlay. And don't worry, if this thing is too confusing, it's really not worth, a lot of stress. It's just a nice option for some people who are already comfortable writing on the iPad, but it's not a necessary requirement. And I don't know if this is going to work, but try. Screen mirroring to my Zoom room. No, it's, well, let's see here. Share. It's one of those things that's, there we go. Easy to not easy to do and talk at the same time. But now you can see my iPad screen. So I can just go into any app and I can just, in the Notes app here, I can write my problem. And you're seeing my iPad screen. I don't even have to have a special app. Or like in Melanie's case, if you pull up an article, right, then you can just, write on top of it or annotate on top of it with your built-in iPad tools. And the people in your Zoom recording or the people in your Zoom meeting are seeing what you're doing on your iPad screen as opposed to your Mac. And I don't want you to stress about that. So just know it's an extra option, but it's really not, it's for the advanced users, and it's something to maybe explore later on.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Great question. All right. So we want to talk about just even simpler than doing all that AirPlaying and going from the iPad into the computer, into the Zoom or whatever. Let's just keep it really super simple here. Let's just get your phone out, okay? And just go to your camera on your phone. Molly found me this at Menards, this like 99-cent chip clip, and I use it as my little phone stand. Okay, and then I just go to my camera here. Gotta unlock my phone.
It actually is not a chip clip.
I know. What is it? What is it, Molly?
It's made for that. It's a phone stand.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. Even better. Thought we were hacking the chip clip. All right, there's my camera. I'm going to turn it to a front-facing camera. And there, I mean, you don't have to be super fancy. You can just talk to your students there. Just record yourself. I know you can't see that. Oops, sorry. There we go. There, just record yourself using your phone camera and make a short video there. That's super simple, okay? Let's talk, if you don't really want to show your face necessarily, but you want people to see what you're doing on your phone screen. You can just make a screen recording right on your iPad or your iPhone. It's built into the operating system. Like QuickTime was on your Mac, this is how you do it on your iPad. And I'm going to do it the low-tech way here of showing you my iPad screen. and show you how to do a screen recording. Know this works on your phone too, as long as it's updated to one of the latest operating systems. We just go into settings and we go down here right past general. There's something called the control center. Okay. And then we can customize our controls. And the very first time you need to send the control called screen recording, it has like a little red record button. You need to send it from these settings down here and add it to the top so that anytime you access your control center, you have access to that red record button. Now, once I've done that, which I already have in my settings, then I just pull down for my date and time. That's my control center. And now I have this little record button. You can kind of see it right there. And it looks like when I press that, there we go. It's going to start recording me. It's kind of like QuickTime, that the very first time you use it, you have to turn the microphone on so it knows to record your voice too. Otherwise, it's just going to get the screen. So the very first time you use it, you have to press and hold, do a long press, and make sure that screen recording is going to go to photos. Make sure your audio is on. Oh, there it is. Press and hold. See down here at the bottom, it says microphone is off right now. So I'd want to turn that on so that when I do click it, it's getting both the screen and my voice. It counts down 3, 2, 1. And now anything I do on my iPad, anything I do and say is being recorded. And when I hit that red stop, just like in QuickTime, it just automatically saves that to my camera roll. And now I have a file just like I did in QuickTime. Okay, I'm just showing that as an option because sometimes our phone is simpler and easier, and you don't even have to go out and learn a new tool. I'm going to go back over to our agenda here quick. Oh, and then I'm also going to just remind you that I'm going to leave this, I'm not going to share the screen here, but there are built-in, or not built-in apps, but there are apps that run on your phone or your iPad that are set up to do teaching recordings. And most everyone has been labeled as free because of the crisis right now. So Explain Everything or Edu Creations. I know elementary teachers are maybe more familiar with those or comfortable with those. So maybe it's worth getting the free, and the links there on my document, on my agenda, take you to how to get access to the free pro version to make a recording with an app during this time right now. So you don't have any limits within the free version. You're gonna have more there than what you need, but I'm just offering them as additional opportunities to create a teaching video like this. Other people have talked about Seesaw. That's a great one too. You can just do it right inside the Seesaw app. You can record a video of yourself or do some marking up of a document and that's shared with your students. But do know there's a 5-minute limit on Seesaw if you're recording the video inside of Seesaw. So I don't really want to get into all the other apps that can do recordings, but just know you have options if you want to get super fancy. All right,
and
so
I don't know if any teachers.
No other questions? Go ahead. Yep.
Oh, I don't know if any teachers have to teach from a Chromebook, but there are extensions like screen capture and stuff on Chromebooks too. So just
absolutely. And
if
Molly,
that's your,
I had told them at the beginning that we might want to do a separate
additional
session on other options, that we're just trying to keep this one, but there are options available. So all right.
No, the only other question was how long should videos be?
Yes.
I can tune into that. I put my 2 cents worth in, but
yeah. And I have at the bottom of the document, I firmly believe that shorter is better. I say that even when we're not teaching from home, right? I don't know that I would want to create a video for students that's longer than 10 minutes. Right now at this time, knowing that everybody's bombarded from all directions, I feel bad that this one's going to be so long. It's just not practical, and it's not best practice to make that video. So keep it short, keep it focused, and you'll find it's less painful for you and better results for the from the students too. So I wanted to show you guys my do-it-yourself document camera. Okay, so if you think about it, remember I just showed you how you could record your screen on your phone, right? Just by pulling down from the command center and recording everything on your screen. But you could also just record a video just using the camera, because we did that too with the chip clip and just recorded ourselves. But here's how you could do it as a document camera. You literally just kind of set up something that's a little bit high. Can you guys see my ice cream bucket there? And a book so that my phone can hang off the edge. And now I know you can't see what's on my phone screen because I haven't shared that with you, but you just got to trust me that it's taking a look at whatever's right underneath of it, like a really super fancy document camera. And I could just open up my workbook here and write on it with a pencil or a pen and talk about it at the same time, because my phone is recording a video of what it sees and what it hears. Just a regular old video, okay? So don't be afraid of getting a piece of paper. You don't have to show your face. Just talk and teach like you normally would in the classroom, and make yourself a little document camera out of an ice cream bucket. Or, this was kind of exciting. Some of you guys saw this over the weekend on Facebook. There's this really cool way you can turn your Osmo base that elementary teachers may already have access to into a do-it-yourself document camera as well. You do need, the whole thing with the Osmo is that it has this little camera reflector thing that covers up the camera and it shoots it down to what's on the table in front of it instead of using the built-in camera. And you do need this free app that Osmo just released called Osmo Projector. It's really weird though, so I wanted to show you how this works in case some of you are interested in trying this out. You have to start the app, and then it looks like everything's broken on your screen. Like it doesn't look like it's working. Here, I think you can kind of see that. Because it's really designed to be used with Zoom or a Google Meet meeting or Skype. You can't use it standalone. So that was confusing to me at first. So I have it running in the background, and now I go to the Zoom app and I start a new meeting. And I share my screen. Share content is on the top of the Zoom screen in the app version. And I go to my, not my screen, but my camera. Might be the screen. No, it's not that. Maybe it was photos. No, it wasn't that. Okay. Oh, start video. I'm sorry. You don't even have to share your screen. You just have to start your video, because now it's trying to use the built-in camera. Sorry, there's a glare from my windows there, but it's actually picking up. It's using the camera through that Osmo Projector app. And it's just showing the paper, and I'm writing on the paper. I'm seeing if you guys can kind of see that. And it's just going right into the Zoom room, which I could be recording. So this is in essence a cool document camera. There we go. And I can work out the problem and talk about it as I'm doing it. Now I know you guys don't see a really great shot of that here because I'm using my Mac as an external camera to capture that. You got to trust me that if I recorded that in a Zoom meeting and it's picking up the paper and the pencil that I'm using in front of it, it would be nice and clear for students to watch later on. So questions about do-it-yourself document cameras?
Yeah, we do have a couple questions if you're ready for those.
Yep, I'll try them.
Is there a way to have a student remote access to the screen so they can tap or mark things up?
No, but, well, yes, okay. This is very similar to a question that came up in Molly's Zoom earlier. If we want our students to do the clicking on the story or the app, right? You just have to have them, you can send them the link in the Zoom chat. They have to go to it on their device. And if you want to see what they're doing, they have to share their screen with you. So in a full class, in a one-to-one tutoring session, it would be great because you could just be seeing their screen and talking them through it. But in a full class setting, well, you can share multiple screens at a time, but that's not super realistic. And you can't control their screen through Zoom, and they can't control your screen through Zoom. So it's just being able to see it and talk about it at the same time.
Okay, someone made a document camera out of Legos. That's awesome.
Sweet.
What was the app? What was the app you used on the Osmo?
It's called Osmo Projector, and it's linked in that blog post that I put on the agenda, so you can read more about it, get the free app downloaded, and then try it out if you want to.
Okay, we have two. One from Michaela Brown, I think you need to look at and maybe just
Okay.
address.
Good, I
afterwards.
will
And
at
then
the end.
other one, yep, the other one is how do we post the video to Canvas? It's
Yep.
just like we share a file.
It's just like you share a file. You just upload it. It's just a bigger file. And actually in Canvas, because I know these teachers have access to Canvas, at the high school at least, you can actually record yourself right into Canvas. And that's easy too. If you do that, high school teachers, if you go to a new Canvas post, an announcement, a page, whatever it is in Canvas, an assignment, and you click the little web camera button and record yourself right into Canvas, be prepared to wait a while before it tells you that it's done and ready for students. The very first time we tried that, you have no idea if it's working or not. So just be patient. It's processing your video and uploading it. Once it's done though, it's super nice because students don't have to click on a link and wait for that video to load, to download it from Google Drive or to wait for it to load on YouTube, because it's just right there inside of your Canvas post with other instructions around it. So Canvas is a great option. Just be patient with the recording of a video straight into it. If you're uploading the video that you recorded somewhere else, it's just like attaching a document or something else. Yep. Other questions on document cameras?
Nope.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. We are down to number 8. We've got a couple main points left and then hopefully a little more time for questions still. So for this one, I'm going to go to I'll just try my phone here. Wait. There we go. I'm going to share my phone screen with the Zoom room. And this has already come up with a lot of teachers who sent packets home to students or want to send additional packets home without physically interacting with them. I want to show you how to make digital handouts that you can send home, okay? So all you're going to do is you're going to go to your Notes app. And we'll just do a new note here. And in that new note, you can hit the camera button. And there's an option to scan documents. Here's a quick trick too. If you have your Notes app on your phone or your iPad, you can do a hard press and you can get right to scan document that way too. Now I'm just going to take a few pages out of this workbook. I'm going to show you how easy it is. If I press the capture button, just like I'm taking a picture, it automatically tries to guess the page edges and it cleans it up super nice. So here I'm adjusting them a little bit and then I'm going to say keep scan. And it's going to make it really clear and bright, just like a scan. It's better than taking a picture is what I'm trying to say. Now I'm going to turn the page and it says it's ready for the next scan. So I'll just position the whole page, press that capture button, adjust my edges if need be, click keep scan, go to the next page. So I got 3 pages here and you can get the idea of how easy it is. Now, if I tap in the bottom left, I have my 3-page PDF here and it's ready for me to use the share arrow. I can do done and then just hit the save in the bottom right to be able to save it, send it out, share it with the share arrow to anyone else. So I could take that document and I could send it to my Mac. I could send it in a message to a parent or a student. I could send it in an email. I could put it onto Canvas. I could put it in Seesaw, but they're going to get a 3-page PDF. So it's super, super easy to digitize documents using the scanner in Notes.
Can you do that one more time?
You bet. Okay, so My easiest way is just to go to the Notes app and do a long press and choose Scan Document. Then you position one page in the view and hit the capture button just like you're taking a picture of it. Adjust the corners. When you've got it, click Keep Scan, and it automatically is ready for the next page. There we go. Now think about it, kids can do this too. If they don't have a scanner at home, but they have an iPhone, if they have access to one and their iPhone is updated, it's built into the operating system to do this. When they're all the way done, then it says save in the bottom right. And now this is a file that I can share out with the share arrow. And I can share it in all the ways that I normally share a file. I can put it in an email message. Here it is, it's a PDF. How did it even, that's pretty smart. It even knew to call it integers. It like took the text from the page in the workbook and it named it that. That's amazing. And now I could send it out or upload it to Canvas. And there's a little link there too. And again, I can go through that with you one-on-one. If that's something that is most helpful for you, is to just digitize some documents. While we're on my
Katie,
phone screen here. Yep, go ahead.
No, there's an Android version or anything?
So I'm
Lori,
sure there I'm
maybe.
sure there is. I worked with somebody, I can't remember who, that had a good, I think it was Mr. York, had a recommendation for a scanning app. I took a look at it, and most of the scanning apps in the App Store for Android, I would assume would be the same. They're free, but they have in-app purchases to get rid of watermarks and to get you like a limit of how many scans you can do. So there's probably some kind of an app out there that would work for a family that has an Android phone or for you. But if you have access to an iOS device, you'd be silly to go to one of those apps when it's just built in here. So yeah, yes, and if you don't have to go that route, don't, because we didn't find a really great solution as far as a specific app for scanning that was completely free, that wasn't trying to charge. Adobe might have a scanning app that might be the best one I've heard recommended, Adobe Scan, which would be, cross-platform, all kinds of devices. All right, so now I'm going to just show you another way to digitize content. And we could have done this, actually, I think I'll switch back to my Mac for this, but know that you can do this on your phone or your iPad as well. But I want to make sure you know you can digitize websites and save them as PDFs and share them to your students just on your teacher laptop too. So I'm going to share my screen once more, but I'm going to go to my desktop here. And to do this the way I'm showing you, you need to be in Safari, not Chrome, because it's an Apple operating system thing. So it uses Apple's browser. There might be a Chrome add-on that would do something similar, but definitely I'm going to show you in Safari. So here's a web page. It's Time for Kids, and it's about live streaming and what's happening because of the coronavirus. So the first thing that I would want to do if I was sharing this content with students is I would want to turn on this button right here. It just looks like horizontal lines, and it's to put it into reader view. It cleans up all the ads. I know some of you have seen this before as I demonstrated it to you. It just gives you the text and the videos, and it's a lot better for sharing that document with students. And then there's lots and lots of ways you can do this. You can go to File, and you can print and make it a PDF. You can go to File and export as a PDF. Now it's just a big old long document that I can save on my computer and share however I want. I can use the share arrow in the top right here, and I can share it out, although that would be a link. We're talking about digitizing this document, so export as a PDF. And just for the sake of you knowing, if you take a screenshot on an iPad or an iPhone, you can get the full page PDF now of whatever you captured. So in the past, if you took a screenshot on your phone, it would just get the first page, just what you saw. But now when you take a screenshot, then you tap the full page button on the next screen of that screenshot. And I think I've shown a lot of you that, but it's pretty cool because now it's a full page scrollable PDF that you can share out with students. So there are some options there. And again, ask me later on if you want me to go more in depth, but don't feel like everything you share has to be video either, because you could just add some audio with a document and it might be easier for students to handle on home Wi-Fi and things like that too, or to send through Seesaw. So we've already kind of mentioned these sharing recommendations a little bit. It's just really important to remember that this whole process of teaching from home is really in two buckets. The first side, on the left side, it's creating the video file and then putting it somewhere. And then the second side, you got to take that somewhere and make sure people can get to it. So the only exception would be is if we were doing live instruction in a Zoom meeting. Then our students would be right there with us, but still they might not all be there. So you might be recording it. So you're making the video file and then you're putting it somewhere and you still have to share the link. So separating that out, and where do we put the video file once we've created it? Probably my first recommended place is YouTube. Although elementary teachers do know that even when you put things on your YouTube channel that comes with your school Google address, everybody has one, that after the students watch it, it might recommend another video that might not be appropriate. So I know with younger learners, sometimes teachers just want to put their videos on Google Drive as opposed to actually YouTube. Either way is fine. The difference would be if you upload to Google Drive, then you have to make sure that you share that video file so that anyone with the link can view it. Otherwise, it's only private in your Google Drive. YouTube, you do have to say when you're uploading it and publishing it, if you want it to be public or unlisted or private. Private wouldn't do you any good because nobody could see it but you. And unlisted would be fine in that only people with the link could see it. So basically they would have to be pointed to it. They wouldn't just randomly come across it on YouTube. However, they still will be suggested other videos. So if that's a concern, then maybe try the Google Drive. High school teachers, you already have Canvas. You may as well upload it like we already talked about to Canvas, or maybe not. Maybe you'd rather have it on YouTube and put the link on Canvas. That's fine too. And Seesaw, there's that 5-minute video limit, but you could also use Dropbox or any other third-party site. Still, you got to get that link and then share it with people with whatever communication channel you're using. Google Classroom, Remind, sending an email or a text message, and just get that share link so they know where to go to watch the video. We already talked about these two, but this is so important to reiterate. If I had to just tell you, ignore everything I said and just remember this, whatever you do, keep it short, keep it really simple, trim it down. I know you've probably been hearing that from your administrators as well, but take what you would normally teach and cut it into a third. Decide what's critical information and just do that. Do make it personal though. We don't need more Khan Academy videos because there's all kinds of content out there. There's too much right now. There's too much instructional content that's created by other people. Make the stuff that you make about you so that your students feel like this is really you teaching. And along that same line, don't worry about it being perfect. Somebody told me, well, I made my first video the other day. They said it only took me, 4 tries and an hour and a half or 2 hours to do it. And I get it, right? I've been the same, but we have to all set that aside right now and just all be happy with imperfections and our hair looking bad in our videos and making mistakes, because it's a good model for our students too. And we're never going to get this done if we don't, if we're spending too much time trying to make it look really nice. So that's just like my high level advice. And we can talk about specific content stuff another time as well. The last page of my agenda has some additional information that was specific to Macs and iPads that's been shared out the last couple of days from Apple